When we say that we want to pay cash or finance in a vehicle, does the rules applies to cheap cars and also expensive cars?
If you're able to pay cash, and that's one of the benefits you have, there is no vehicle, depending on your budget, that is not in the conversation.
Right.
It started that, hey, if you pay cash for a vehicle, you get a better deal. Right? Fast forward to 2024, you get a better deal if you're financing. If you're a good credit client, and obviously you're going to be able to make this payment, right? Because you came to buy it cash. I want you in my portfolio, right? And the reason is because you're going to make your payments on time. You probably have fantastic credit. It's going to help my book of business to have somebody like you added to that. Think about the ownership cost, right? It's not just about what you pay for the vehicle. It's how much that it costs for you to own that vehicle. I think it makes sense to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So let's say, yes, right now you don't have any plans to use your credit for anything. Why not just build up your credit, and in case you ever need it, you already have it.
Hello everyone, welcome back to MotorCast. In this episode, I'm with Rahim, the legend, the GOAT. How are you, bro?
I'm doing fantastic, bro.
No, let's do it again.
All right.
I never know.
Felt the energy.
Yeah,
Go
on. How are you?
Welcome to MotorCast, baby. I'm doing fantastic. We're feeling fresh in here. How are you feeling, Homer?
I'm super excited for this, for going viral. We have to tell our people that we went viral on January. We went viral on January, one of our TikToks. If you go down to TikTok, you're going to see a couple of videos that went viral, but one specifically we were able to hit it into 600,000 views, more than 500,000 views, bro.
Dude, that was pretty insane. And I was like, while it was happening, I was so addicted to it. I kept going and I kept refreshing and I kept refreshing and I kept seeing more likes and I kept seeing more views and I kept seeing more followers. And it was like, I don't know if anything like that's ever happened to me before. I was so freaking excited that whole day, dude. And it just...
That whole day? I mean, I was excited the whole week.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still excited about it. And I guess the only part about it that is tough is like, dude, how can we recreate that? Like, I'm constantly thinking of things to say, like, okay, how can I make that happen again?
Right. So for me, it was very exciting because, I mean, I went to the gym. I have a rule, a personal rule that I go to the gym and I don't touch my phone for the first 2 or 3 hours, right? And I don't know, I just, I think I was trying to get into Spotify to put my music on or whatever. And then I saw a lot of little bubbles on TikTok, and I was like, did we made it? Did we made it? Already?
We made it, baby.
And then when I went in and I started sending you screenshots, that was fantastic.
That was a good feeling, man. I remember. I'm never gonna forget that morning until it happens again.
I mean, yeah. Also, one thing that I'm very excited about that Kenneth, our video editor, was bugging about us or bugging about it is that we have our third camera today. So, hey, what's up? So you're going to see our third camera, 1, 2, 3. So we have more variety during the process. We have been growing a lot. And also, I'm super excited to share that.
Let's talk about that. That's one thing that Homer and I were just speaking about was like the first time we ever recorded, we had a full movie shoot. We could have made a small Netflix movie. We had what is the umbrella called with the light? Whatever. We had the umbrella with the light. We had LEDs. We had 50 extension cords. We're moving couches around and things like that. And the more episodes we've been doing, it's like, okay, we need a little bit less, little bit less, little bit less. And finally, it's like the setup time is so much easier now.
Right. So, yeah. So what's the topic for today, bro?
Today's topic, nice, simple, easy, straight to the point. Should you pay cash for a vehicle if you're able to, or should you finance it? So this is specifically for the people that have that choice. What is the best option? Should you pay cash for a vehicle, or should you take it out and pay?
So let me ask you this right now. So when we say that we want to pay cash or finance in a vehicle, does the rules applies to cheap cars and also expensive cars, like high price cars? How does it work? Like right from the beginning?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you could, and that's one of the pros, right? If you're able to pay cash, and that's one of the benefits you have. There is no vehicle, right? Depending on your budget, that is not in the conversation.
Right.
If it's a $500 vehicle, it's a $500,000 vehicle. If it's a vehicle from the 1900s, right? 1900s, it sounds like it's so far away, but like 1990s, 1980s, something classic or whatever. If it's something new, whatever it is, right? It doesn't matter. If you're paying cash, nobody can tell you no. And that's one of the pros for cash, because if you're financing, not everybody has programs for like classic vehicles. Not everybody, for example, has programs for like an imported vehicle, like a Japanese vehicle that's been imported. Or some banks, they don't want to finance too low of an amount. Like they have restrictions of like, okay, you cannot finance less than $5,000, or you cannot finance less than $7,000, or whatever the number is. And you have to finance at least a certain amount to even qualify to be able to finance it.
Right. So let me ask you this. I really like this Dodge. Can I buy it cash? What's the price?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a fantastic question, because whether you pay cash,
I have the money, by the way.
or
I'm just kidding.
whether you pay cash for it or finance it, it's going to be $35,000. And a lot of people, and I don't know where the starting was, and that's actually probably a good topic. Maybe I could do some research and we could just make a clip about it. But at some point, it started that, hey, if you pay cash for a vehicle, you get a better deal. Right? Fast forward to 2024, you get a better deal if you're financing.
Okay.
Right? So it's like that cash buyer once was like, hey, if I'm writing a check for this, they're going to give me thousands off. And now it just doesn't matter, because whether you write the check or the bank writes the check, it's all coming from the same place. But at least if you finance it, I have your name in my portfolio. Maybe if you're a good credit client, like, hey, I want that on my books, or I have an opportunity to sell you some products, or whatever the case is, right? There's more, even if you buy it for the same exact price, there's more benefits to the dealer for you to finance it than it is for you to buy cash.
Right. What's the benefit for the dealer? When you put it like that, what's the benefit for the dealer if we finance?
So
if I as a customer decide to finance.
So I mean, there's tons of benefits, right? So like, number one, let's say for example, if you were buying cash, you were like, hey, I can't spend more than $20,000. The fact that you're financing, number one, I could show you more options, right? Like if you said, hey, I want this exact vehicle, but it has to have these options, and the only one I has super low miles and it's over your budget, right? If we finance it, now you can get it. Right. You don't have to go with one that's older or more miles, or make it fit into your budget. You could just get exactly what you want, and we can help you with that. The other thing is the products, right? We make a profit off of the vehicle service contract. We make a profit off the gap.
What's a vehicle service?
The warranty.
Contract?
Sorry.
So one thing that just for you to know, like the whole audience, Rahim is very technical, and I always tell him, bro, social media is not about us. Like people out there wouldn't understand what a vehicle service contract is about you. So we wanna, like, the name, or the popular name is gonna be a warranty at a dealership, but it not necessarily means it's a warranty, right? We spoke about this already in previous episodes, like 10 episodes ago.
We just clip it or something.
Oh yeah,
that's
I don't know how to do it, but
you know what's so funny? That's like, I like doing that when I'm watching videos and I see, well, there's gonna be a link right down here. That's like what I want to be. There's gonna be a link right down here.
Yeah, that's how. I mean, I gotta learn it now. You put that in my mind already. So again, continue.
So like we can make a profit off the warranty. We can make a profit off the gap, any of the other products. And one of the benefits for me personally, or for Motivation personally, is like our entire business operates off of relationships. So like, if you're a good credit client, and obviously you're going to be able to make this payment, right? Because you came to buy it cash. I want you in my portfolio, right? And the reason is because you're going to make your payments on time. You probably have fantastic credit, and it's going to help my book of business to have somebody like you added to that book of business, if that makes sense.
Now, from a customer perspective, what's the benefit? Because we spoke about the benefit for the dealership, but what's the benefit for the customer?
I mean, there's tons of benefits for the customers, right? And each customer is going to be a little bit different, but like, let's say you were buying a $50,000 vehicle, right? To finance it, there's a million other things you could do with that 50 grand, right? You could put that 50 grand to work and somehow it makes you money, right? Rather than once you put it into car, the only thing it's going to do is lose money. It's never, unless we get another COVID type situation, it's never going to go back up in value, right?
Okay.
So you've pretty much put that money in a box, and every time you open the box, there's going to be less money in there. Otherwise, you hold it, right, and you can use it for something else. Another benefit to the client, right, for financing is the same benefit that the dealer has is in cash. You might have a budget of $20,000, so that means you can't go to $20,500 or $20,100 or whatever it is. And financing, you could get a little bit better vehicle. Maybe if it's less miles or that option you want or whatever it is, you can actually make the choice of getting exactly what you want versus having to settle in that budget, right?
Right.
Another benefit is, like, let's say, for example, you're buying, not every cash buyer is buying a $50,000 vehicle, right? Sometimes they're buying a $5,000 vehicle. As somebody who's buying a $5,000 vehicle, think about the ownership cost, right? It's not just about what you pay for the vehicle. It's how much that it costs for you to own that vehicle, right? So, like, let's say you bought a $5,000, I don't know, Honda Accord, Nissan Maxima, something like that. And something happens to that vehicle, right? So you spent the $5,000, and now everything that happens to that vehicle, you're also spending that, right? So let's say you have a simple $2,000 repair, right? It's not the end of the world. It happens 6 months later. It doesn't even happen right away, right? So now that vehicle in a 6-month period has cost you $7,000.
Right.
Right. And what happens when there's a next repair, right? Because I obviously, if it's $5,000, it's going to have something that happen, right? It's not going to be perfect. Now imagine instead of spending that $5,000, you could have spent 10 and financed it. Are you spending more money? Yes, absolutely. Right. You are spending more money, but what about the time it spends in the shop? Or what about the fact that if you didn't have the extra $2,000 when something broke or whatever the case is, right? I just feel like it's one low monthly obligation versus all at once, and you can't do anything to change that. Another benefit is you can build credit, right? Just because you have cash to buy a vehicle doesn't necessarily mean you have great credit or you've already have neutral credit. That could just mean that you're amazing at saving money, right? So that's another benefit, is just building your credit up.
And what do you think about people that say, okay, I just like buying vehicles in cash because I don't really try to build credit right now? What do you think people with that mentality, or what can you tell?
I mean, it's different for each person, right? So, like, one thing that I'm learning is, like, I mean, credit is just important in America, right? So, like, if it's one of your goals to buy a house and you're going to finance it, you need credit. If you're going to have a business, and, in business, cash is oxygen, and you're going to need access to money, and in most cases, it's going to be credit. I think it makes sense. It's to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So let's say, yes, right now you don't have any plans to use your credit for anything. Why not just build up your credit, and in case you ever need it, you already have it. That's my mentality.
And also, now that I'm thinking about it, I know that we have a couple of, or maybe a lot of customers that they come and they don't like financing, like people with money, like they have the money, right? And I don't remember his name, but this guy, a very loyal customer to Motivation, he comes, he buys one or two vehicles cash, like 50, 60, 70,000, because he doesn't like to be like that. But shout out to him. I don't remember his name, but
Pedro.
Pedro, yeah. So when we have a business, what's your recommendation? And probably we can go deep in a different episode or whatever. But if you have a business, do you recommend buying in cash, buying in or financing the vehicle?
I mean, honestly, I guess the big point is going to be how much cash reserves are there, right? So, like, if you have a business and you cash is not a problem that you have, do whatever you want, right? It's totally up to you, right? There is nothing I can say that'll make the other way make more sense, because one of the negatives about financing is you're paying more for the vehicle, right? There is an interest payment, right? And if you have excess cash, why pay more to get something? It just doesn't make any sense, right? But I would say, like, depending on what the goals for the business are, either way could work. Again, I much rather use somebody else's money to pay for something and use my money to make money, but that's my opinion, right?
Yeah, that's a personal opinion, right? That's a personal opinion. Yeah, and in some point, like, I've been in that position too, and because I have never had a huge debt, like 50,000, 80,000 for a vehicle. I mean, if I have the money, a customer perspective or a buyer perspective, I will buy cash. But I also agree on that. Like, why should you use your own money if you can use somebody else's money?
And like the other thing that I like is even if you have the money, like it doesn't mean you have to still finance it for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, right? You can get the loan out and you can still pay it off in bigger chunks, right? Because one of the benefits of financing is you protect your liquidity, right? You still have your emergency fund. You don't have to dig into savings, right? You don't have to touch your 401k or whatever it is, right? You use somebody else's money. But I think it's going to continue, especially in this topic, it's going to continue to boil down to each person's respective situation.
Right. It makes sense. Let me ask you this. If I want to, and totally is, probably is a little bit out of topic, but I'm trying to connect it. If I see a vehicle on Marketplace that the price is $20,000, and I want to get it financed, can I call any dealership? Hey, can I finance a vehicle through you, but you don't have it?
I think that's a really good question, bro, because that's one of the things that I wanted to bring up and I forgot about. That's another benefit of being able to buy cash, right? You can buy the vehicle on Marketplace, you can buy it from a dealer, you can buy it from Craigslist. You could be driving down the road and see a for sale sign and knock on the person's door and you can buy it, right? In some cases, like, for example, what you just said, if you find a vehicle on Facebook Marketplace, unfortunately, you can't just call a dealership and say, hey, I found a vehicle somewhere else. Can you just set up the financing for me?
Okay.
You maybe can call your bank or your credit union or something like that and still get financing sourced out and be able to finance the vehicle, right? But it's just not, there aren't enough banks that are willing to set it up that way, right? Because there's a whole third party involved and not a business, if that makes sense.
It makes sense.
So that is a huge benefit of buying cash. There's nobody that can tell you no.
Right.
Facebook Marketplace, no problem. OfferUp, no problem. Driving down the street, see for sale sign, no problem.
But also in the other hand, I know that in the warranties episode we spoke about you can get a warranty. You can call a dealership for a warranty, but not for a finance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just to make it clear.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, 100%. Because the thing with the financing is, like, even if it's not their vehicle, now they're kind of married to that vehicle, whether they want to be or not.
Right. It makes sense. All right, so for me, it has been a lot of learning, like, as always, all the knowledge that you have. I don't know if you want to add something, but I'm out of questions.
No, I think that's it for me. I mean, there's benefits to both sides, just like we do in a lot of episodes. Boil down exactly what your situation is, and easy pros and cons. And if you're not sure, please give us a call, 404-939-9010. If you have any specific questions about this topic or would want us to discuss some other ones, just go ahead and shoot us an email at sales@MotorvationTrucks.com.
All right, that sounds good.
We need to make an email for MotorCast.
Oh, you tell me that.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Who do I need to ask?
Great.
Okay.
Yeah. MotorCast@MotorvationTrucks.com.
Gotcha. Also, so right now, as always, you can go follow us on social media and all the different platforms: TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. What else? That's it, right?
That's it.
It's gonna be Motivation Trucks, and you can listen all our episodes on Spotify. It's gonna be MotorCast. That's how you can find us. Also, I wanna give a shout to Los Hijos de Morazán. That this is a Honduran podcast that is very popular in Latin America. So shout out to Los Hijos de Morazán. This is their merch.
Yeah, very cool.
I'm super excited.
I was like, yo, Homer, that's a nice shirt. It's totally different than what you usually wear.
I know.
Very colorful and loud.
I know. So can you imagine? In 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, we're gonna have our own merch, MotorCast merch.
Sooner for sure. Sooner for sure.
All right. So once again, thank you for tuning in, and we hope to see you very soon.
Absolutely. See you later.